Okay, this one is talking about integer operations. Someone remind me what an integer is if you know. What are integer numbers? Positive, negative, you're forgetting one. Zero. Good. Okay, so integers are negative numbers, 0, and positive. What about decimals? No. What about a fraction that when you type it in the calculator gives you a decimal? No. What about a fraction when you type in the calculator you can get a whole number? Yes. Okay. So when we're adding integers, and I know this is kind of hard to see, so I'm going to go over it. Adding. I'm just going to write adding. When we're adding integers, if you have the same sign, okay? So like if we have -5 plus -1, okay? These have the same sign. That means that we add, so we add these two numbers together, same sign, we add, and then we keep the sign. So what's 5 plus 1? 6. And what type of numbers are these? Negative. So your answer would be -6. If they have same sign, if they're both negatives, you add and you keep the sign. Add and keep the sign. Okay. Now, if we have different signs, so like -5 plus 1. That's a different sign because one is negative, one is positive. That's a different sign. Okay. When you have different signs, that means to subtract. And keep the sign of the greater absolute value. And let me make that make sense. So I say if we have -5 and 1, which one's the bigger number? 5. So your answer is going to be negative. Okay, so let me walk you through this. -5 plus 1 have different signs. So we're going to subtract. I don't care what's negative. I don't care what's positive. You're going to take the bigger number, subtract it from the smaller number, just like you're in elementary. So the bigger number is 5, subtract the smaller number is 1. What's 5 minus 1? 4. And the bigger number here is what? 5 or 1? 5. So whatever 5 is, that's my sign. So 5 is negative, so your answer is -4. Okay? Don't overthink it. Oscar. Okay? Same signs add, different signs subtract. Think about the fact that different sounds just like difference. What does to find the difference mean? To subtract. So think about different and difference both mean that you need to subtract. Different, difference. Different and difference both mean you need to subtract. Okay? No, but it's my time. Okay? What's the saying? I'm not going to read any of that. You guys tell me, what's the saying for subtracting integers? KCO. So to subtract, we do keep. Good. Keep, change, opposite. Keep, change, opposite. Miss Bivy, can you help him find the right page? Gotcha. Keep, change, opposite. What does keep, change, opposite do to a subtraction problem? It changes it into a... What do we change subtract to? Adding. Adding. Good. Okay. All right. Those are the rules for adding and subtracting. Now I'm going to make it simple for multiply and divide. I'm not going to read what the words say, okay, because we have a different way of doing it. We have the tic-tac-toe chart, or we have the triangle that we've used both times, okay? So over here in the white space between the pages, I know it's small, but try to write right there, okay? So if we have multiply, I'm just going to abbreviate, or divide, okay? So for a multiplication problem or a division problem. I hope by now you guys know my shorthand. Multiply or divide. Okay. I'm going to do the triangle first because that helps a lot of people. Thank you, TikTok, for teaching me this. Okay. Positive up top, 2 negatives at the bottom. So if I cover up the 2 numbers I have, say I have 2 negatives, what does it equal? Okay. If I have 1 positive and 1 negative, what does it equal? A negative. Okay. That's how the triangle works. The tic-tac-toe chart . Okay. A negative times a negative is a positive. A positive times a positive is a positive. Negative times a positive is a negative. And a positive times a negative is a negative. So if you really look at that tic-tac-toe chart, I'm going to zoom it in some. The only way you're getting a negative is if you have different signs. If one's positive, one negative, you're going to get a negative. But remember, that's only from multiplying and dividing. That's only from multiplying and dividing. All right, I'm going to roll it over to the first question. I really like these, and I hope you guys will use these when you're doing your test. So we have these little circle things that have negatives in them, and some have positives. Can anyone tell me what they're called? Zero pairs. Yes. Okay. Someone explain to me how zero pairs work when you're solving a question. Aubrey, tell me. Yep. Okay, so if you have 1 positive and 1 negative, you cross them out. Whatever left is your answer. Whatever is left is your answer. So 1 positive, 1 negative. Boo-bye. 1 positive, 1 negative. 1 positive, 1 negative. 1 positive, 1 negative. 1 positive, 1 negative. Do I have any more positives to cross out these negatives with? No. So what do I have left? Negative 3. So what answer choice is that? I know it's kind of hard to see. B. Okay, B. Okay, I really love zero pairs. You okay, baby? Drink some water. All right, my first block and I did this, and we were like, this was a lot easier than it needed to be. So let me write them darker so we can see our options. Negative 6 minus 3 equals 0. Negative 2 times negative 3 equals negative 6. Negative 6 plus 3 equals 0. Negative 2 times 3 equals negative 6. And when I was rewriting them in first block, I noticed that there are some false answers. Listen, if they're asking you to model something, it still has to be true mathematically, okay? So let's see if we can cross out any answers that are not even true, okay? What is negative 6 minus 3? Is that getting you anywhere near 0? No. Cross it out. Negative 2 times negative 3. What's a negative times a negative? A positive. Is that answer say positive 6? Nope. Goodbye. Negative 6 plus 3 equals 0. Does that get you anywhere near 0? Negative 6 plus 3. No. Cross it out. Negative 2 times 3 equals negative 6. Yes. That's the only question that was even mathematically true. Okay? We didn't even have to know what the model meant to get the answer correct. Okay? So sometimes read your answer choices, scan them through, and try to cross out answers. Now let me explain to you why it makes sense. Here's 0. And this arrow's all the way down here on negative 6. So wherever you end is what it equals. Okay? So we had to equal negative 6. So just by knowing that we went from 0 and our arrow ended at negative 6, we could have crossed out A and C anyway. Okay? Now, how wide are these little arrows? They go from 0 to where? Where does this first arrow end? Negative 2. So that's how we got negative 2. How many arrows are there? 3. So that's how they got the answer. Okay? Wherever the arrow lands, and then how many arrows are there? What? Yeah, this is a typical SOL question, okay? So always try to eliminate your answers. All right, I think we have time for one more. One more. Let's do this last one. Solve. This one was a little tricky. Negative absolute value of 3 minus 9. Oh, I could so see them asking you something like this. Okay. So, for absolute value, what does that mean in absolute value? It's always going to come out positive. Okay? So, let's write it 3 minus 9. I'm just going to rewrite it bigger. We have to do what's inside first. Okay? What type of question is this? Add, subtract, multiply, divide. Subtract. So, what do we need to do to turn it into addition? Keep, change, opposite. Keep, change, opposite. What do I keep? What do I change minus to? What's the opposite of 9?
Negative 9.
Okay, but remember, it's still in these absolute bar thingies. Okay, do we have same signs or different? Different. So that means we are going to do a normal elementary problem. Do not make it any more difficult than it needs to be. What is 9 minus 3? 6. Which number was bigger? Okay, so my answer is negative 6. But let's bring these bar thingies back. Okay, the bar is going to come down every step like we're doing order of operations. Okay, what's the absolute value of negative 6 right here? 6. What's happening to the little negative on the outside? Gotta bring it down. So what's your answer? B, negative 6. All right, we will continue this tomorrow.